Hi, I'm Lightbath, and this is Bitwig Connect 412. Bitwig Connect 412 is a 4-input, 12-output, class-compliant USB audio interface that can send and receive both audio and control voltage, allowing for integration with hardware synthesizers like this Eurorack modular. While any DC-coupled audio interface can be used with Bitwig Studio to send and receive control voltage, Bitwig Connect was designed with the tightest integration I've seen. This makes it easy to set up and simple to use. In this video, we'll review all the ins and outs and special features that make Bitwig Connect not just an audio and CV interface, but a multi-output monitor and DAW controller, complete with dedicated transport buttons and a center dial for high-resolution parameter control. The center dial is hard to miss. It's a smooth 360-degree pot with a multicolor LED ring for visual feedback of whatever it's currently controlling. It's metal, feels premium, and provides high-resolution control of more than you might realize. The center dial can control input gain of channels 1 and 2, main out level, headphones level, playhead position, and literally anything else in this special Bitwig mode that lets you hover the cursor over any parameter for hands-on control and even temporarily lock the dial to a parameter to free your cursor for other duties. To unlock, double tap the center dial again. While we're here, I want to show you a couple button combos for some useful functions. In1 and In2 can be linked for use as a stereo pair by pressing and holding one of the buttons while pressing the other. You can also enable direct monitoring of these inputs by selecting the input and holding main or phones while turning the dial. You can see that the LED turns red while adjusting. It also works the other way around. When main or phones is selected, you can press and hold In1 or In2 and turn the dial to set the direct monitoring level for that selected output. Lastly, you can hold In1 or In2 without turning the dial, and after 1 second, the LED ring will display the current direct monitoring level. The 3 buttons to the right of the center dial are the monitor section for summing the main output to mono, activating alt mode, which by default routes the main output signal to outputs 3 and 4 for use with a second pair of speakers. With alt mode active, you can press and hold alt while turning the center dial to set the volume compensation of the alt outs by plus or minus 12 decibels. If you don't need a second pair of outs, you can use the optional software control panel to configure the default alt behavior to simply mute the main output signal, or mute the mains while leaving the signal in the phones. And lastly, you can use this bottom button to dim the main out by a specified amount. The amount of dim can be set by entering dim mode and pressing and holding dim while turning the center dial. If you hold dim without turning the center dial, the LED ring will display the current setting after 3 seconds. These LEDs are the level meters that show input level when In1 or In2 is selected, pre-fader output level when main or phones is selected, and when the other 2 control modes are selected, the LEDs continue to show the main output level. The status LEDs to the left of the level meters indicate the current state of phantom power, input settings, and MIDI I/O. Below the LEDs are 3 buttons to control the transport of any MCU-compatible DAW: record, stop, and play. The Bitwig button on the bottom right can be used as a shift function to make these buttons control Bitwig's automation right, metronome, and loop. The top panel has 2 inputs and 4 outputs available as 3.5mm jacks. This lets you connect Eurorack and other synths as audio or control signals. What's special about these connections is that they're factory calibrated, so that Bitwig Studio can send and receive accurate 1 volt per octave signals without the need to manually calibrate. This eliminates the challenge commonly associated with sending and receiving CV signals through a DC-coupled audio interface. You can use the hardware CV instrument device in Bitwig Studio to translate MIDI notes to pitch, CV, and gates to play hardware synths. If you select manual tuning mode, the device will automatically set its range to match the calibrated voltage level of Connect's jacks. In the grid, you can use CV pitch out and CV pitch in to send and receive 1 volt per octave signals to and from external hardware. When you select any of Connect's 3.5mm jacks as the destination or source, the grid module will automatically set its range to match the calibrated voltage level of the selected jack. And, as mentioned, these 3.5mm jacks can also be used as standard audio ins and outs if you don't need the DC-coupled CV functionality. The back panel of Connect has everything else. In one is an XLR combo jack that can accept a balanced mic-level XLR input, a balanced or unbalanced line-level input, or an unbalanced instrument-level input, selectable via this switch. This lower switch turns phantom power on and off when using the mic-level XLR input. In 2 is a 6.35mm jack that can accept a balanced or unbalanced line-level input, or an unbalanced instrument-level input, selectable via this second switch. Outputs 1 through 6 are these 6.35mm jacks for balanced or unbalanced audio outs. This 6.35mm jack is a stereo headphone output. These two 3.5mm jacks are TRS MIDI in and out. The unit ships with 2 DIN adapters if that's how you roll. Lastly, we have the USB-C port for connecting to your computer and providing bus power. And because safety first, a slot for a Kensington lock to keep that one shady cat at the club from lifting your new sweet kit. If Connect's hardware inputs are selected in Bitwig Studio, additional controls will appear in the Tracks Inspector panel, allowing for software control over a channel's input type, phantom power, gain, and direct monitoring. As you can see, Bitwig Connect is more than an audio interface. The monitor and transport controls, along with the center dial, make it useful for anyone working in a DAW, and make it amazing for Bitwig Studio users, while the additional CV features make it easy to integrate with external hardware. If you want more help getting your Connect up and running, watch the Getting Started video. Happy patching. I'll see you in the Lightpath Zone.